Alright, so we need to fix your squat a little bit. I didn't think a text message would suffice again, so I wanted to make a video. The deadlifts look great, squat needs some work. So we're going to actually, I want to completely rework your squat. You're missing depth, like every couple of reps or so, and the knees are just staying way too forward. So we need to completely redo your squat, so we're going to start over from the beginning. This is actually an issue with your boyfriend too, that I noticed in his squat videos. Depth is something, especially for him being a powerlifter, but just anyone in general who cares about their training and activating the legs and stuff like that. It shouldn't even be a question. Like, every rep should look completely sunk from any angle, and that's how you know you're hitting good depth. That hip crease should be below the patella, and also too with you, it's really an issue with the knees. So we're going to go over that. This is literally, this is going to be a basic on everything you need to understand with the movement of the squat. So we're just going to kind of go over that. The first thing we're going to be like touching on is your knees. So if you can see from the front angle here, what I want you to really focus on are your knees getting out. I cannot explain how important that is because it clears room for your hips. So get the knees out to make room for the hips. Oh, and your feet should be at hip width. We'll go over all that here in a sec. But with your knees, as you're descending into the squat, you want those knees to get out as far as you can while keeping those toes slightly out to the sides and really clearing room for the hips. So knees out to clear room for the hips. Just sink back and come on up. You can see here how far my knees actually get out. It's a little dramatic on me because I have long femurs, but knees out to clear room for the hips. It's extremely important. I'm going to show you from a different angle now. Let me move my camera over. We're going to focus now on the hips. So the main thing I need you to work on there is knees out to clear room for the hips so you can get to proper depth. And so the movement's a little bit stronger. Focus in here. And the other thing I want you to focus on, and this one you don't have a huge problem with, but we're still going to focus on that. The two cues I want you to remember: knees out, hips back. So as you're squatting here, and you get into position, catch your breath, knees out, hips back. Those are the cues I want you to remember. Knees out, hips back. So you can see I break at the hips first, and then the knees. Always break at the hips first, knees out, hips back. Break at the hips first, knees out, hips back. Now I'm going to come over here, and just in case we're a little unsure on the hip part, or I'm sorry, on your footing part, aim this camera down. Give me 1 second. So the distance of your feet for most people should be just outside hip width. Your heels should be just outside hip width, not the toes. Because we're pointing the toes slightly out, we're going to have those look a little bit wider, but the heel should be just outside of hip width or a little bit wider depending on what feels comfortable. Put this back on up. Camera's dying right now, so I gotta make this quick. Yeah, focus on getting those knees out, sink them down lower, break at the hips, feet at hip width apart, your heel at hip width apart. Make sure we sink them every rep and really get those knees out. That's what's going to help you reach that depth. If we don't get to that depth, you're going to end up missing out on a lot of leg activation. If you get those knees out, you'll be able to stay more upright and you'll hit better depth, all right?